This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Backwater Truck Supply, located at 100 Armor Creek Road in Nitro, West Virginia, right across from the Town and Country Supply. Contact them today at 304-610-8699 or check them out at backwatertrucksupply.westvirginia.com. Backwater Truck Supply specializes in accessoring your ride to your liking, new or old. Does your Jeep or truck need lifted or leveling kit installed? They've got you covered. New tires or minor automotive repairs? They got you covered there as well, with a full-service lift along with a wheel balancing machine. They are affiliates with some of the top brands in the automotive industry. Contact them today at 304-610-8699 or check them out at backwatertrucksupply.westvirginia.com.
All right, folks, welcome to another episode of On the Limb podcast with Nature's Voice Game Calls. Folks, turkey season is fast approaching. This evening, we have an obsession bow shooting turkey hunting machine on the tonight. Jackson Webb with HuntNecks and his father, Jason Webb. So they just come back, a couple weeks ago from the ATA show. And they made some great connections while they was out there. And we want to talk about them this evening. So without further ado, please welcome with me Jackson and Jason Webb with HuntNecks. How you guys doing this evening?
Good, Mike. How are you?
Great, Mike. Listen, we got to give a big shout out to Dennis Lewis with Obsession Bows. I mean, I've told the story before. I can shoot any bow I want to. And I shot a bunch of them. And there's some great bows out there.
Yeah.
But once I put that Obsession in my hand and pulled it back and let that arrow, sling that arrow down range, I ain't ever gone back. And
yeah, I know.
And I don't mean to. It just is what it is. To each their own. But when Jackson went with me, we started going to the ATA shows because I do some work with those folks out there.
Yeah.
And I told Jackson he was wanting to get into bow hunting, and so I said, let's find you a bow. And he went around, he shot everything. And I said, the only thing I ask is that you just shoot an Obsession before you kind of make your decision. And so he shot that last. And as we say, the rest is history, boys. He's on the pro staff for Obsession now, so he loves it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when I shot it out there, I was like, when we first got to the ATA, that's all I could think about because I've heard you all talk about them, and I'm like, man, I've got to try these bows out. So when we first got there, I was like, we got to find Dennis. And obviously, we was there with Hunt Chef, and we were busier than.
Yeah, you guys were right there beside the Obsession booth.
Yeah, so it wasn't too far down, and it was happy hour one evening, and I went down to the Red Line Hunting Products booth, and got us a beer, and I seen Dennis on the way back, so I talked to him on the way back, and I was like, I'm gonna come see you tomorrow. I was like, hope we get a little bit of, slow time to where we can come see you. And we went over there and, got to talk to him for a little bit and shot them bows. And I was amazed. I mean, at how smooth they are. I mean, it's phenomenal.
And the fact that they have like zero vibration.
Oh, yeah.
Is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Zero vibration. I mean, solid back wall. I mean, it's perfect.
Well, for a guy like me, I don't shoot much. I don't have the time. So
yeah,
I want the valley. I want the forgiveness, right? I want that. That huge monster titanium driver that I can hit it anywhere on the face and it'll go 300 yards straight. That's what I'm looking for in a bow.
Yeah.
Because, that's it. And just the speed, and I'm not going to give anything away, but they've got some incredible, exciting news that they're going to be breaking, pretty soon.
Yeah.
And it's,
I keep reading Dennis's post and I'm like,
it's wicked.
The rumors are true.
Yeah, the rumors are true, and they got two big things going on, and it's about to set the world on fire, and I can't wait. And they've already contacted Jackson, and we know, and we can't talk about it, but it's just legit. That's all. It's a great Southern company. awesome bows, awesome lineup.
And just to give you a little hint, now this has been put out already by Dennis. So it's the old with the new coming together.
Amen. All day long.
All day long.
All day long.
So give us a little bit of ATA show recap. How did you guys enjoy it? What kind of connection did you all meet while you're there? And we'll talk about some of those later on.
Yeah, it was great. Dad picked me up from school around noon on Wednesday, and we drove from Winfield, West Virginia, all the way to St. Louis. So
Well, that was
a haul. But
Yeah, Jackson loves being able to go to new states, right? I mean, he's at that age where he's checking the boxes. And so he got to go to Indiana a couple years ago for a brief minute because I got in the wrong turn lane in Louisville and ended up going across that toll bridge.
Oh, Lord.
And we were in Indiana for, a hot second, turned around, came back into Louisville, Kentucky. But this year he got to, travel all the way through Indiana and into Illinois.
yeah, and to see the Mississippi was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. Of course, we saw the arches. And so, the show started out on Thursday and, we went after it. I mean, we obviously used Obsession as our sort of base camp and also, Arcus because Jackson's sort of been on pro staff with those guys for a couple of years and Dead Downwind and Tinks and Trophy Taker, Rack One and Ramcat and those guys. I mean, they've just been phenomenal and we really appreciate their support. And, but there were a couple people that we have done some stuff with in the past and you've heard me when we were at Breathe that evening, which was just an awesome event that you guys had at Breathe up the road here and, the fireside chat so to speak. And we were out there on the patio, but we field test stuff. Like I go out and we buy it and we research and we use a bunch of different products and then we kind of settle on a product and we use it in the field. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, so be it. We go get another one, try a different brand. And so once we sort of settle on stuff that we like, that we use, that works for us, then we just happen to have the opportunity to maybe meet some of these people, the last several years. And, one of those is Baronet blinds. We love Baronet blinds. You can get them at Rural King. You can get them at, several different places. But, man, they stand up, versus some of those vinyl that just barely lasted through a half a season. And, the Baronets with the ox skin and the the different types of blinds that they have, they stand up the test of time. You can put them up in September and take them down in January. You don't have to worry about them. We used one in Ohio this year that just stood up to the wind, the rain, the snow, everything. And that oxide is really durable and. So, we obviously went by and saw those guys. And, of course, Jackson, he killed that monster buck here in West Virginia and had killed a huge buck, 2 days prior in Ohio. I tell everybody, look, he shot the biggest buck in his life in Ohio on that Saturday. And that sort of PB lasted for
2 days, 48 hours.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
2 days. And so now, and when I tell people the story or they see the video on YouTube or the pictures on Instagram or whatever it is, they're like, what's he going to do for the rest of his life? And I'm like, I have no idea, but we're going to chase it, man. We're going to keep chasing it.
You got something really good to shoot for.
Yeah, for sure. So, we got to run around and see some old friends and meet some new folks. And, of course, the ATA in St. Louis was really good. And next year it's going to be back in Indianapolis, so it's just a little closer to home, and so we look forward to going to that again next year. But
I think the next 3 years, I believe it's going to be in Indianapolis, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and this was your first one, right?
Yeah, this was my first one. We got invited by Hunt Chef, and we helped them out while we was there. But thanks to him, we had a great experience. It was something that I've always wanted to do, and I've been invited before. I just hadn't taken the time to go. So we took the time to go this year. And we really wanted to help them out. They help us out a lot. And that's what we're all about. We're all about supporting and promoting other businesses in the outdoor industry.
Well, and we would slip over there once or twice a day to pinch some of the great
Yeah.
marinated
That,
meats.
that,
You gotta-
that
you gotta get-
jalapeno was pretty good.
You got to get some of the samples.
Yeah, and Chef is such a great guy, and he always smiles and
Yeah.
stops what he's doing and talk to you. And we're always sort of like, oh no, keep keep doing what you're doing. But Chef was a great guy.
No, he's very charismatic. Every time we get him on the podcast, he's like, "Hello, Chef Nation,"
That's awesome. That's
and
awesome.
he's right there in the middle of it. I mean, he loves what he does, and he has a passion for it.
Well, and everybody knows him. I mean,
Yeah,
just
they do.
just everybody knows him. And
I mean, he's a big hit at the Great American Outdoor Show.
I bet.
Yeah, I was going to
the
ask if he's there this week.
the
but-
Harrisburg show. They're there, and he breaks down a deer from start to finish. I mean,
Wow.
he does the whole thing, and it's like an hour-long session that he does live there at the show.
That's really cool.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Jackson, talk about some of the other groups that.
Yeah, so we started talking to Tethered.
Yep.
Probably back in October, November, and Taylor sent us a couple saddles, some of the really nice, high-end, top of the line saddles. And I went in the backyard as soon as I got them and tried them out, and they were great. And then I'll come back to Tethered here in a minute, but then I wanted to start researching a camo pattern because, out of a saddle, it's a little bit different. You're not up against the tree. You're hanging off. You kind of have to hide your silhouette a little bit.
Yep.
So I started researching about different camos, and, everybody says that Sitka and QU and a couple of those camos are really good. But the only problem is that they are super expensive.
Yeah.
And I was looking at duck waders the other day because I'm starting to get into duck hunting.
We were just talking
And, yeah.
about that before the podcast.
And so Sitka's waders are $1,000, and the average person cannot afford that. And that's what's great about True Timber. We ran into those guys at the ATA show, and they make a really, really good camo that is inexpensive, and it is really high quality. And I'm actually wearing...
You're wearing some of it
Yeah,
this evening,
I got
so that's
the
their...
True Timber Prairie on.
Well, but Mike, the first real True Timber that we sort of purchased was through your website. Nature's Voice Game Calls, and so we bought that. And you'll have to help me, but we bought that sort of Sherpa line because we were going to go boar hunting last year, and it you can freeze your tail off.
Yeah,
because there's no trees, and you're up on the ridge on those strip mines, and it's
so that
20
is
mile an hour
that
winds.
is their high pow hoodies,
Okay.
and it comes in a midnight camo. It comes in their other waterfowl camo. I can't remember.
Well,
the name.
I think we got the Strata.
Yeah, you
That's-
got
the
Strata.
Stratas. That's the one that I found. So I started reading
Yeah, I like
articles
it.
and stuff about, how does a deer's vision work, and what do you need in your camo to help cover your silhouette? Because some of those mimicry camos, like whenever you see other companies take pictures of a mimicry camo, it's normally like they're eye level with them in the tree.
Yeah.
And deer aren't eye level with you if you're in a tree stand. They're on the ground. And so in the background, you have the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Which can absolutely give you away because you're
Yeah.
you're a dark object
Yep.
hanging off of a tree.
They're like, that's not right.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, and so that's whenever we started using the Strata, and it's worked really well for us.
Strata is one of my favorite patterns that they offer.
And it looks really cool too.
It's so versatile.
Well, and for a dad with a son that's growing and constantly changing sizes, and
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, so it's affordable, and so we actually ran into those guys at the Obsession booth.
Yeah.
And there were 3 or 4 of them, and I just struck up a conversation. I said, gentlemen, I just want to thank you guys for making a great camo, but also making it affordable
Yes.
for all of us, because we're not in. I mean, can I go buy the high end stuff? Absolutely, sure. I mean, but I don't want to necessarily. I want to find something that is affordable or inexpensive, that works, that's efficient, that serves the purpose and gets it done in the field. And that's who we are. I mean, Mike, you and I've talked a number of times offline about growing up and our parents and trying to provide for our kids a little bit better than what we had growing up, and hunting those Allegheny Mountains up in Pocahontas County and all that stuff. But
Many memories up there.
That's right. Great memories. And so now, just trying to pass on that tradition to Jackson and your son. And, and so we look for companies that are quality companies at affordable prices that just really deliver in the field. Yep. That's it. And we're not chasing big names or anything. If a big name works, great. But everything that we test the products before we kind of put our name or reputation or whatever behind it. So it's field tested. So to Jackson's point, he's the one that went out and did the research, settled on it. But we already had those Sherpa sweatshirts that we used in boar season last year and in coyote season last year, and they were super warm. It's the warmest hoodie I've ever worn. You can go on your website right now and buy them. I mean, I know you don't really self promote, but they're on your website.
Yeah,
so you can go.
They are. They sure are. And we tell everybody at our trade shows. That's one of the big things we sell at our trade shows that we go to, is the high pile hoodies. And they are like selling pancakes with West Virginia maple syrup. Yeah. I mean, they are great. Everybody loves them. They've got the Sherpa lining in the pockets, and they've got it throughout the whole body of the actual, hoodie itself. It's not just in the sleeves.
That's right.
A lot of times you'll find this apparel out now that just has Sherpa lining in the sleeves and won't have it in the torso area like the full body.
Yeah, well, and I think it's like $49.99.
Yeah, $49.99.
I mean, you can't buy a pair of socks anymore that are $49.99.
I know, and if you get it at the show, you're going to get it for $40. So we've got Morgantown coming up March 2nd and 3rd. So if you're in the West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio area, come see us there. But back to Jackson. So some of the things that you all done there at the ATA, you were talking about tethered. So there was
one of the great things that they have just come out with is their grit line. And it's supposed to be for the hardworking, blue collar guy who needs something affordable that he can hunt out of during season, which he could have limited days, but it's really cool. They've made it really simple, and the pack that they have comes with everything you need. They have the saddle, the sticks, and the platform.
Okay.
And that's all you need. And the saddle comes with your ropes, and then it comes with a suspender to kind of help it stay on. But it's a really cool system, and we're supposed to be getting some in here soon, and hopefully try them out.
What is the name of that system again?
Grit.
Yep, Grit by Tethered, which is really, really cool. And we appreciate those guys. We met them, a year or so ago, and kind of became fast friends with one of their guys, and have stayed in touch with him. And he's been supportive of Jackson. And I'll say it tonight. I'll say it 1,000 times. I mean, I'm just trying to help Jackson sort of turn a passion of his into a form of art through social media, through his Instagram account, and in YouTube. And obviously he killed that really great buck in Ohio, and then he turned around 2 days later and killed that monster buck in West Virginia. And then we turn around and we go, my cousin, Kirk Price, we went bear hunting with him, and took a friend of ours on a, and he ended up killing a bear on the backside of Blair Mountain. I mean, of all places to hunt in West Virginia, in the historical point of Blair, and just, it was an awesome day. And so, he's got that out, and we're going to really try to get after some coyotes here, this weekend coming up, and the next couple of weekends, to kind of, lead us over into, turkey season. And then turkey season, what are we going to try to do, bud?
We're going to try to get 3 gobblers. So one in West Virginia, one in Kentucky, and one in Ohio. And we have a pretty cool little place in Kentucky on public land that we're trying to figure out. And we hunted it last year, and we were just covered up in them, but we should have a pretty good chance this year.
We were pinned down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were pinned down where we couldn't. And I got to tell you, and I've told this story before when I've been on here, but we laid in a field.
Yeah.
The cool thing about Kentucky is you can hunt all day for youth season. So, I wish West Virginia would change that, and I'm going to make some recommendations. And you guys had the DNR director on the other evening, I think.
Brett McMillan.
Great guy, very receptive, very open.
Yes.
Trying to do all he can to, open up the outdoors to everybody. But We were literally pinned down in this field for nearly 4 hours, and then got dive bombed by a bunch of yearling hens, and it was just an exciting day. We didn't get anything. We got some pretty good footage, but we've almost got it figured out. Right, with turkeys, you never really get it totally figured out, but you get some hints and some pointers, and to make it successful next time. So we're gonna probably throw up the take tethered probably on one trip. We're gonna use some one of our Baronet blinds. They've got the 3-side panel you can just see out of. It's surround view. It's awesome.
The high five. That's the one we use.
Yep, the high five, and so that way you can kind of see them coming and get ready. And then we may just run and gun it over Ohio just to we really enjoy Ohio. We really enjoy hunting over there.
And we know the land really well too over there, so we can run forever.
Yep. I'm trying to think of some other groups, but
so where you all hunting coyotes at?
We will go to Ohio and hunt on some cattle farms. Some of the farmers over there, they're a little bit of a nuisance at times, and so they just prefer that they're not on the property and running calves off and so forth.
Yeah.
So it's easier to go over there and hunt right now. We have some property we could hunt here in West Virginia, but we just like going across the river. I mean, just because what Jackson said. I mean, we just know the property. I've hunted over there for over a decade and know the farms and know how they lay and kind of know the prevailing wind and where the hollers are, because you got to hunt them just like deer. I mean, you got to try to stay downwind because those coyotes will try to circle down around behind you. And
because they have patterns and they have habitat and bedding areas just like any other animal does.
Yep. And then, we'll get into this spring, get through summer, and start the mineral licks. We got a bunch of Rack 1 minerals that they sent us. We're going to get those out early this year. And I'll tell you, one of the other companies we ran into, which is Maverick Blinds. Now,
that's what I was going to mention next. Yep.
Yeah. So they're different. They're a hard-sided blind. Right, so you can go buy a $3,000 blind and put it up on a platform, and that's cool, man. I'm all for it. But for most of us, we can't afford that. So these are like $1,200. They come in 2 halves. You can put them in the back of your pickup truck. One person can put them together and assemble them. And they're but to your point earlier, they're just great people. It's a great company run by great people who are trying to get more people into the outdoors. And they've come up with an affordable, hard-sided blind, and we just really like those folks. So we're probably going to do something with them. But those are for obviously sort of stationary hunting and putting them up and kind of leaving them all season. And so there's some places in Ohio, and especially with one of the farmers we hunt on over there, we want to kind of create a sanctuary for him to take his little boy. To try to, because he only gets a couple days to hunt out of the year, because the rest of the time he's running a major cattle farm over there. So we want to make sure that they have it, and so we've been looking for one really for him, and Maverick just fits it, man. They fit the bill, and so we're going to try to figure out how to get one of those in and try them out, and we'll continue to use Baronet, the soft sided, on a lot of these hunts that we do in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio. But if you're looking for a hard-sided, or sort of a hard-sided shell type permanent blind, I'd definitely check out Maverick.
Okay,
definitely,
yeah,
for sure.
So that's the difference between the two.
Yeah, and we've never had a hard-sided, really, because they're just unaffordable.
They're stationary.
They are stationary, and sometimes we have to run and gun a little bit and move them, and we do that. I mean, I drive 180 miles on the weekend moving stuff around to try to find that magic period or magic time when, deer up on their feet and daylighting and the rut's going on where, we can get on a big one, hopefully. And so, but again, Maverick's a great company, and we love Baronet. We're going to continue to promote and support Baronet. We found them first, and then we just happened to meet them later on, and they've been very supportive of Jackson, so I can't say enough great things. Then Jackson loves Victory Arrows, and he's talked to those guys for the last couple of years, and so they're going to do a little bit of stuff with Jackson this year. And once he gets his new Obsession bone in, obviously just like closed, he's growing on his draw length.
Pulling
a little bit more back on the limbs, and so We've got to I got to get new arrows every year. It seems.
Yeah.
Even fall to spring, I've got to go, get new arrows because you can't extend them. So,
Yep.
But Victory Arrow's been really nice and encouraging to Jackson. And so, we'll continue to shoot those this year as well. And, we're excited. It's going to be hard to top this last year.
Yeah.
I can. It'll be easy for me. I didn't get anything this year. I passed on.
Same for me. My son killed a nice buck, and I'll be, topping that pretty easy this year, hopefully.
Yeah, that's right. Trevor did great, man. We were excited. We were really excited. And that's another thing, Mike, that we always want to, reiterate to your listeners is we love to hunt.
Yeah.
Do we kill a couple big bucks? Yeah, we do. But
yeah.
It's not about the size. It's about the adventure.
Yes.
It's not
The
about
story.
Yeah, the story, the adventure, just getting out there and enjoying it with your family and your friends and seeing new territory and seeing new things. And so never let the size of a deer measure the success in the field.
Yes.
Never let that, never, ever let that.
Absolutely.
I can't stress that enough. I mean, Jackson and I are on the road a lot together, driving here and to and there. And
yeah.
We just continue to talk about that we're blessed to be able to do this. What a great country.
Yeah.
Spend time with your family in the field. Put the phones down unless you're filming. And,
yeah.
just enjoy it. But don't worry about the size of the deer or the size of the buck or what did it score. Don't get caught up in that.
Yep.
Don't, just because we happen to shoot a couple nice bucks, we've shot some smaller bucks, but, they all taste, Jackson always jokes, well, they all taste the same after you skin them.
Yeah,
so.
that's true.
Yep.
So you talking about such a great country we live in, one of the things that we love to do is our salute to valor. So we'll do that this evening. Then we'll get back into some of that stuff. So our salute to valor this evening is Dylan Price out of Hastings, Michigan. He served in the U.S. Army as a specialist, 4 years, Fort Hood, Texas, where he was based. 1 tour to Iraq under 2 campaigns, Operation Iraqi Freedom and OND. I'm not sure what that stands for, but I know what the OIF stands for. So let me go through the awards here. And he had several different awards and campaign medals, but he wasn't able to list those. So I'm not sure why that was, but maybe he wasn't able to get back to them in time. He was discharged in 2014. So we want to thank you, Dylan Price, for your service to our great country.
Thank you,
God
Dylan.
bless you, sir.
Yes, sir.
But we get our salutes to valor from Operation Cherry Bend, and what they do is they take veterans on hunts and different fishing trips and things like that.
Very cool.
They're in Gallipolis, Ohio. So we deal with Kate Runk there, and she supplies us with all of our salutes to valor. So we appreciate what they do and what they do for the veterans.
Absolutely.
To give
Yes,
back
sir.
to them.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, to go back into what we were talking about there, last night we went to the NWTF banquet here in Charleston, and I was invited from Highland Outfitters, so we got to be able to be there through them. And we were talking to them about, like what you were saying, it's not always about the kill or how big it is. So one of the employees there at Spring Hill Rod and Gun when he first started way back 18 years ago, he had never killed any kind of animal in hunting. So he had never hunted really. And Tom was talking about how he took him to a hunt down in Texas or somewhere, or it may have been out in Wyoming. It had to have been because he was talking about a cowboy elk, or a cow elk. And he said that's what he killed was a cow elk. And he said, you would have thought it was like a 6x6.
Yeah.
He was the most excited you had ever seen out of somebody that had killed a cow elk. And I'm like, man, that's what it's all about, It's all about introducing new people into our hunting heritage that has never known about it before, or, continuing the youth like Jackson sitting right here and his dad's helping along with that. So That's what we're all about.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, we love to go doe hunting because we love to give back to the Hunters Helping the Hungry program.
Yes.
It's fun. It's not stressful at all. I mean, they just come out whenever, and you just
Except for this year, we got
we
skunked.
didn't.
We
on
went
2 days straight and didn't see
2
a thing,
days straight, did not see a single doe.
which is rare for that farm.
It is, but it just goes to show you that even doe hunting can be tough at
It
times.
can be, yeah.
And then I had to work on, because that's around Christmas time, right? That's when we really enjoy that time right after Christmas. And you got 2 days of doe season or youth doe season for Jackson, so those don't count towards when a youth harvests a doe, it doesn't count towards their season limits. So, if you want a little extra meat for the freezer, or if you want to, get an extra doe for the Hunters Helping the Hungry program, you can. And so, we went out 2 days for youth season, which was like the 26th and the 27th, and we didn't see anything. So I had to work on the 28th, and I'm getting like selfie pics from several does standing in front of the Browning trail cameras, or cell cameras. And they're just posing. I mean, they're almost.
Yeah, there were like half a dozen of them just standing right there in front of the blind.
I mean, it's like
15,
they know.
20 yards.
Yeah, they know when you're there. And of course, he wanted to. He's become a purist, so he only takes his obsession bow in the woods, actually the first day you took your brand new Savage 400 Legend.
Yeah, I was really excited to shoot something with it to see, what that caliber would do to a deer. But
so right after he harvested those 2 bucks, we had a conversation with Savage, and they were pretty excited for us. And so they sent out one of the new Prairie Hunter Savage Model 110s, and they're just sweet. They're hogue stock and
nice
Cerakote barrel.
yeah, it's really cool.
I love hogue.
We put the Vortex Hog Hunter scope on it just because we wanted to doe hunt and hog hunt with it coming up next. So. But we took it out the first day and didn't see anything, and then we went out the second day, and he wanted to take his obsession bow, and we just thought we were going to get to go back, and we just ended up working and having to go out of town that next weekend on holiday, so we didn't. But that, just to your point, you shoot a cow elk, you love it. We love shooting does. We love harvesting does, and but we didn't get it done this year.
Yeah.
So he had to settle for those 2 big bucks, but he didn't get any does.
I mean, I can't complain.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, it all makes good steaks and jerky and deer
Absolutely.
That's
because and burger, because we have used a ton of taco takedown from Hunt Chef. I mean, that really it eliminates all your store-bought packets when it comes to taco seasoning. So you just take about a quarter of that shaker that they've got and use it in your hamburger or your venison or whatever you're fixing for tacos or fajitas. And, man, it is amazing. And I'm like, my son killed this nice buck. And normally bucks don't taste very well. I mean,
yeah.
Most of the time it's a little more gamier than.
Yep.
Yeah, especially during the rut when
Yeah,
they have extra
during the rut.
testosterone
Yeah.
and all that different stuff in
And
them.
I'm telling you what, this buck's glands was flaming. I mean, they were good and scented, and we've ate plenty of burger from this buck, and it's just been amazing. I mean, it's been
It just goes to show you what Hunt Chef can do for you in your life, man. Everybody needs a little Hunt Chef in their life.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yep, for sure. Hunt Chef is great. Their seasonings are amazing. So, tell us a little bit about some of the other interventions that you all had there at the ATA. Any other different things that you all came across?
Well, I mean, obviously, Tinks came out with a new line called Peak 30, and we were able to use that in the field this year. And then of course, Dead Downwind has the new black, back in black, scent eliminator, and so that we were able to go by their booth and talk to those guys, and we've known those guys for a long time. And again, very supportive of Jackson, great products. What about your buddies over at Painted Arrow?
Yeah, I started following Painted Arrow on Instagram probably 3 months ago, and what it is, I actually have one on my phone. It's a phone mount that's magnetic, and you just put this little plate on your phone. It sticks onto your phone case, or if you don't have a phone case, you just stick it on your phone.
Okay.
and they have this really cool mount, and they have all different kinds of mounts, and they're all universal. And so it just sticks on there, and you can film with your phone. And it's really cool. And so I got one for Christmas for my bow. And so what I'm planning on using it for is, instead of going like using it as a front camera, since we already have a big camera, I'll just use it for the back camera. That way you can see me whenever I'm shooting.
Close-ups and things.
Yeah, which will help a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't even know that was a product that was out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, they make a crossbow mount, which is, I mean, I've never seen a camera mount that goes on a crossbow. And then they've come out with some saddle hunting accessories. So they made a GoPro mount with a tree strap. So you just strap it around the tree, and it's this little magnetic mount, and then you just click your GoPro on there, and it kind of gives a surround view of where you're hunting. So it's a really cool company, and they're faith-based, which I really like. And we ran into those guys at the ATA show, and they
what
were
company is that again?
Painted Arrow.
Painted Arrow.
Yeah, really great group of guys, and just we're trying to figure out themselves, like what, sort of homegrown, homemade, sort of tinkering in their garage and trying to figure out something that could hold their cell phones, right? Generally, their Apple, their iPhones.
Because everybody has a cell phone nowadays, so you kind of have to find, the market to be in. But
yeah, they're just doing a great job, and we were. We stopped and talked to them, when they didn't have a lot of customers around, because we don't bother anybody.
We actually ran into them at dinner. It was the
Wednesday, was it?
Yeah, it was Wednesday when we got there, before the show started. And I walked over to them, and I had this thing on my phone case, and they loved it.
Yeah, they were really cool, and of course they were right in behind the Buck Commander booth. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the Buck Commander guys were there. And so, Tombo Martin shoots for Obsession. And so him and Jackson kind of got to know each other through Obsession. And they invited us over, and he got to, meet, all of them.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So you had a good experience with that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so...
You've done two different scenarios with videos there on your YouTube page, and I believe Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. So I was going through the line, and we were probably 3 or 4 people back from actually getting to meet them. And one of the media guys comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to do a prank?" And I was a little hesitant at first. So I was like, "Yeah, sure, but what is it?" And so he was like, "So I want you to go through the line and get everybody's autograph, but whenever you get to Tyler Farr, say, like, I don't want your autograph." It's
yeah, just to see what he'll do. And I got real nervous. I'm like, well, I don't want to offend any. I mean, you got Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, Langsy's there. You got Willie Roberts. I mean, you've just got really cool guys that we've all listened to.
Yeah, sort of the original TV guys in the hunting world.
Yeah.
And so the first person was Tombo Martin, and I introduced myself, and he kind of knows me from Obsession. He was really cool. And then the next person was Luke Bryan, and I like some of Luke Bryan's music, and he's a really funny guy.
Well, we saw him in concert. We went to
here in Charleston.
We saw Riley Green opened up for him. Yep. And so we went to the Riley Green concert.
Yeah, that's what we were there for, was to see Riley Green. But then whenever Luke Bryan came out, at the time, I didn't really like his music, but he was just an entertainer. He was just phenomenal, fun to watch and listen to.
He put on an incredible show. We were going to leave after Riley Green. We had some friends that were up in the balcony, and we had, we were down closer on. We were on the floor, and I just said, "Hey, we're going to leave, and we've got these seats. So you guys just come down, and we'll give you the tickets. You can sit here, the family, and so we." Luke came out and just started blowing it up, and I'm like, "Holy cow!" I said, "Well, we'll stay for another song." And then, they would text me like, "Are you getting ready to leave?" I'm like, "Yeah, we'll probably leave here in a little bit," because we just really enjoyed. Luke Bryan puts on an incredible show.
He puts on a really good show. He's a great entertainer.
Yeah, but it was really cool to meet him. Then the next person was Tyler Farr.
Yep.
And so I got up to him, and he had his Sharpie in his hand.
Ready to go.
Yeah. He started to reach out to sign it, and I kind of pulled it away. I was like,
I'm good.
I'm good. Immediately he was like, okay.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And his face got red, and he turned to Luke Bryan.
He turned over and looked at Luke Bryan like, can you believe what that little twerp just done?
And so when he looks back, we're all sort of standing there, and of course the other buck commander guys start losing it.
Yeah.
And then he knows he's had, and Luke knows that something's going on, but it's crowded and kind of loud. And I said, Luke, you see what happened? He goes, no, what? I said, when Tyler reached out for him, he goes, and before I could say it, Tyler looks at Luke and goes, I'm good. That's what he said. He goes, I hate all you. I hate all you all.
Yeah, that's what
he looked at the camera. He was like, I hate all of y'all.
Yeah. And so then, the next guy was Langsy there, and Langsy's telling essentially Jason Aldean what's going on. He's like, Jackson just came through and pulled it back and said, I'm good. I don't want your autograph. And of course they started dying laughing. And so when Jackson got up to Aldean, and he said, good job, Jackson, gives him a fist bump, and then he gets over to Willie Robertson, and Willie's like, Jackson Webb, what's going on? And he's like, oh man, nothing. Yeah. He's like, man, your hair's on point.
Yeah, he did. I remember seeing that part.
Yeah, so that was great.
They're a great group of guys. They're funny, and Kirk actually used to film for them, and they had an episode where Kirk got pulled over, and they were talking about how Willie should pay his ticket and whatnot, but it's a really cool show.
Yep,
that's good.
Those guys were.
We've
cool.
watched them forever.
Yep, for sure.
Well, guys, we sure appreciate you coming on this evening. It's been a great time.
Thank you, man.
It was great. Yeah,
it's always great.
We always enjoy coming on here, and excited to do it here soon, probably.
Yep. So you guys are going to be hitting some coyotes here pretty soon, and then headed right into turkey season, huh?
Yep, for sure. That's what we're looking forward to. We're
That's
going to
the
try to
plan.
knock down some coyotes and then go chase some birds in 3 states.
Yep, got to knock down the turkey killers, and then you're going to kill some turkeys.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Well, we sure appreciate you all coming in, and it's always a great time, like I said. So
thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
No problem. All right, guys. We thank you for listening this evening. Be sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. And we're on about 20 other different networks. So wherever you get your podcast, you'll find us there. And be sure to check out Jackson Webb. Jackson, real quick before we go, be sure to tell them where they can check your YouTube videos out.
Yeah, so it's just at HuntNecks on YouTube and at HuntNecks on Instagram. Those are our 2 main sources of social media. So be sure to check us out.
Yeah, and if you want to check out that comedy relief there for Tyler Farr, you can get on his Instagram page and Facebook.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Instagram's where you can find it the easiest. HuntNecks. We're just weekend rednecks, boys.
Yep. All right, there you go. Well, guys, like I said, we appreciate you listening, and have a good evening. This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Outdoor Pro Shop, LLC. Outdoor Pro Shop is a family-owned and operated firearms dealer and sporting goods retailer. They have pay-over-time options, a rewards program, and customer service satisfaction that is unmatched. They might not be the biggest, but they strive to be the best. Contact them today at 240-360-1298 or visit them on the web at www.outdoor-pro-shop.com. That's Outdoor Pro Shop, 240-360-1298.